So we are just having another great panel coming up, and I would like to join that Gianluca Vannuccini is coming up, Panagiotis Michael, Paolo Nesi, Michael Bumpos, Paolo Boscolo, and George Giannakopoulos. Please take a seat already so we can start. I hope we have everybody. Yeah, we're moving right along with our session 4. And this is all about platforms and data for cities. The leader for the session is Gianluca Vannuccini. Having organized the Major Cities of Europe conference in Florence in 2016, he is well aware of what's, going into a process like getting everybody to Larissa and planning for this kind of event. He joined the municipality in Florence as an IT project manager in 2003 and then managed for over 10 years until 2021 the IT Infrastructure Development Office, leading several digital innovation and transformation projects. Last year he joined the Tuscany region government as the CIO and the director of the IT department. And he will also be later a panelist and a speaker in session 5, so you get to see a familiar face on stage sometimes. But let's go on with our first speaker. He will present to you the urban policy making in Sofia through analysis and crowdsourced data. Dr. Panagiotis Michael is responsible for the technical coordination of the Horizon 2020 project Policy Cloud and is representing the Institute of Communication and Computer Systems of the National Technical University of Athens. He is currently doing research in the field of real-time data stream processing of a high-performance computing infrastructure of the Greece internet, and he has extensive experience in advising public authorities on smart city issues. The municipality of Sofia is addressing urban policy as a critical success factor through its involvement in Policy Cloud. And let's hear from him now to get more information on Policy Cloud.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon to all. Kalispera σας. It's a great pleasure being here in Larissa. Many thanks to the organizers, the major cities of Europe for this excellent event we're attending and presenting. I'm Panagiotis Michael. I represent the National Technical University of Athens. We are the technical coordinators of the EU project Policy Cloud. The project coordinators is Athos, Spain. And switching. Okay. Yeah. So thanks. So we are a consortium of 15 excellent partners in Policy Cloud, as you see. And today we're going to focus on our use case, which is applied on the capital of Bulgaria, Sofia municipality. The presentation will be, I will provide an overview of the project as technical coordinator, and then we'll follow with a recorded video from our excellent partners, the team of Sofia municipality, describing how they are optimizing urban policy making by using Policy Cloud. So I will start by providing an overview of the project. This is the conceptual model we started with. Now this conceptual model has been implemented. So we have an architecture, technology architecture on the cloud for this conceptual model. I'm going to describe to you what we are doing. You see it is based on 2 axes, the bottom axis and the top axis. At the bottom axis, we receive information for a large number of different data sources. And this information is ingested into the cloud environment into the database. At the same time, we develop artificial intelligence tools which pre-process this information, but also tools that are made available to policymakers. This is performed as a background to support policymakers, and then you see at the top, along the top axis, policymakers are accessing the datasets and the associated tools to them via a user interface, which we call Policy Development Toolkit. It's a toolkit for policy modeling. They can create policy models, they can use the datasets and the AI tools. They can generate visualizations so policymakers can see the expected results, can simulate, they can perform experiments on specific population segments, and then they can optimize their policies. You will see all this in practice in the following video that our colleagues at Sofia Municipality are explaining how they are using Policy Cloud successfully. The goal of Policy Cloud is to improve the modeling, creation, and implementation of public policy by harnessing the potential of digitization and of the cloud. It provides a cloud-based platform for data-driven policy management, and it integrates reusable analytical tools. There's a number of modules. I have already explained the Policy Development Toolkit. I will also focus on the data marketplace, which makes available all assets that have been developed in Policy Cloud on the web. So datasets, tools, publications are available already on the marketplace, so you can get access to it, you can register and get access to them. And we have started also the process of onboarding our organizations and services on EOSC to make these available for the wider community. The expected impacts, as you will see from the Sofia use case, we are achieving effective policy making. It's very important the reusability of the tools and the data sets and the scalability, of course, on the cloud. We have addressed the legal and ethical considerations. We have a whole framework addressing at each one step, connected also to the previous question we have seen. Yes, we do have an end-to-end legal and ethical framework supporting our actions. And we're promoting innovation, data-driven innovation, and of course we're boosting the data-driven economy. The use case of Sofia Municipality is one of the three successful use cases we have. The other two will be presented tomorrow at the special Policy Cloud session. The second one refers to the region of Aragon in Spain, where the region promotes the agri-food industry, especially wines, the Aragon wines, by using AI tools through Policy Cloud. The third use case refers to the Lombardy region in Italy, where they address the problem of radicalization by using Policy Cloud. Also, this use case will be presented tomorrow. Now I will give, we're ready to watch the video prepared by our partners, Sofia Municipality, describing how they have successfully used Policy Cloud, how they are successfully using Policy Cloud in order to optimize their policy making. So, is it possible to switch to the video? Thank you.
A few words about our use case. We are Sofia Municipality. Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria. We are the 14th large city in Europe, and we have about 1.8 million inhabitants. This is huge responsibility. As you can find so many people in one place, they have different expectations, they have different needs, and it's our job to be prepared to give them what they need to be. It's our job to be able to solve different problems, and everything is our responsibility. As I said, we have different area of interest, but here we put only 6 areas. They're not only the 6 areas, but just for beginning, it's a good example what's important for us. As you can see, we have data sets which are already in the platform. Here are information about road infrastructure, air quality, waste collection, transport and parking, cleanliness of public spaces, violence of public order. What's the purpose? Sofia municipality policy making process was a little bit hard, but now we have opportunity to use good, intelligent tools, and we support this process, we optimize it. We improved operational efficiency and transparency. We utilize visualization to support the policymakers because it's very helpful for them to have these visualizations. They can take their decisions using different visualization and analysis were very useful, and it's very easy to share this analysis with other partners or other developments which are in connecting with us for solving one concrete problem. We have more effective use of resources. What about the resources? We have one contact center. This contact center is giving opportunity to the citizens to share with us their problems, their opinion, their observation or their needs. When they see a problem, they can send us email, they can give us a call, they can send us message through the some apps that we have. All of these actions, we become like a signal. These signals we are using in our daily job. These signals are our data sets which are already in the platform. The other data sets are air quality sensors. They give us information about the air quality. These sensors are possessed in different spots in the city, and they give us information about the level of different points in different period of the day or different period from the month. And we decided that it will be very interesting if we compare the data and use one very clear and effective analysis from all the data which we already have. As I mentioned, we have 6 areas of interest, 6 use cases, but they are very similar because we're using one source of information. But here, using the platform, we can select these signals, we can compare them using different categories, different types, different territories, because Sofia has 24 different districts, and we are responsible for all of them. And we can have analysis only for one district or only for half of it, or we can make one analysis about road infrastructure just for one district, and to see what will be the best policy which we can have. And after that, after the analysis of the results, we can take the decision: is it good to follow this policy, and can we act and work with this policy not only for this on one district, and to use it for all the others. As you can understand, main challenges which we already have is to provide meaningful structure results, because I told you we have our information from contact center. All the citizens, they are different people, and they react differently. They can write one problem with different words, they can describe what's wrong using different intonation or words or description, and this makes all our information not so structured. That's why the whole value for us is that we can use the platform, and there our information is very structured, and we can have the result from all these whole signals which we already have, and now we can use all this information which is already shared with us, but we just save it. We didn't use it. Now we are starting to use it again, and that's a good new policy. And now we can see the results when we are taking good decisions in our city planning. Our first scenario, scenario A, is road infrastructure. For every city, town, or country, road infrastructure is the most important thing. You have to fix all the problems because they're connecting with all small other areas of interest or all different other problems. Here we decided to start with it because we have a lot of signals which are in different areas, which are with different meaning, and they are very rich information about this sector. And here the result of with the analysis from the platform, they are very clear and useful. We can identify problems, we can control better what we are doing in one district for this problem. Do we have how we can know that? Because when we make the analysis, we can see, do we have more signals in this area, in this type of signals, road infrastructure, or we have less signals? If we have more signals, that will mean that our policy and our actions, they are not good enough. The decisions weren't good enough, so we have to change them, or we have to change the partners, our partners, or we have to select and save more financial resources to solve this problem. Or if we have less signals, that will mean that we've done a good job. And now we can focus our attention not only for road infrastructure, and we can move on to take more resources and time to solve problems in different areas. Of course, using the platform, we can understand where the good tendencies and how we can use them in different districts, and we can create a new based information, and we can share it. The second scenario, scenario B, is forecasting analysis. We have already a few models on the platform. We created visualizations. Here we can compare the information from last few weeks or months or years. And based on this information, the platform gives us prediction what we can expect about this kind of signals, about this period, about the future period, and we can make our planning. Should we decide to prepare more human resources to solve the problem now, because the prediction said that probably the next 3 months we will become more signals about, for example, road infrastructure, and that means that we have unsolved problems. We have to think about them, we have to plan them, and we have to include not only finance in this direction, not only human resources, but time, because we have to solve the problem before the winter, where we will have problems, but we won't be able to work on this area. Here you can see the diagram. We took the diagram from the platform, and I just want to show you what it look like. The first part, that's the analysis of the signals, and here the second one, where it's in gray, you can see the prediction, what we can expect in the next part of the year. For example, expected results, as I said, we can identify problems, which is very important, because that's that's the basic idea when we're sitting down and planning our work for the next year. We can make different analysis which we can share with our colleagues, as I said, because we are working with different partners, not only municipalities, not only districts, partners from the business, and they need to have the same information. It's really easy to take the analysis from the platform and to send it to the partner and to be on the same page when you are deciding what you have to do. Using this analysis, we can have better control about the work, about the results from our work, where we have to be more careful, where we have to be prepared to work hard in different directions, what we are planning, is it enough or not. We can identify tendencies and we can validate existing policies, and we can understand, are they good enough, or can we use this policy not only for this concrete district or for the other two. I'm pretty sure that all of you know that urban policy making, that's ongoing process, and we have to work with the citizens all the time, and our work is very dynamic and we have to be prepared every single day. Thank you for your attention.
So many thanks to Mrs. Metodika Taliowska and the Sofia municipality team for their extensive presentation. Many thanks to you for your attention, and we're ready to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and we fixed also the technical issue with the next presentation, so we can move on in our program. From Greece, we are moving to Italy. Next up, we will get more information on a project called Snap for City, a platform to support decision makers, mainly in the context of mobility and transport, environment and tourism, through digital twin and data analytics with high-quality artificial intelligence and techniques of explainable AI. Paolo Nesi is a full-time professor at the University of Florence for Big Data Architectures, Security and Privacy and Distributed Systems. He has been the scientific coordinator of large international research projects such as Snap for City, Resolute, Sea Mobility, and some more. Please welcome Paolo Nesi.
You need to change this slide. Okay.
So they are loading. Okay. Thank you for the presentation. So I am presenting to you what is the Snap for City platform I can do for as a support for your decision makers in the city. And Snap for City has been developed in the past with the support of a number of the European and national projects, including the pre-commercial procurement with the Helsinki, Copenhagen and Antwerp, that we have been considered the winner of that pre-commercial procurement. The architecture that you see in the slides, you see that you can connect any kind of data from your territory and back and forward, so we are capable to produce also informative hints from the data that we collect in the area of mobility and transport, or environmental data, or parking, or governmental, or energy, whatever. So all these data are collected, aggregated in a big data storage and ready to be exploited by your data analytics and also by your platform and our platform for rendering this information in several different manners, including three-dimensional digital twins and very nice graphics, as I am going to show you. The platform is fully open source, so you can download and install in a few hours in your premise or in public cloud. And there's also an official platform of Fireware and passed the assessment for GDPR and penetration test and so on. So
Okay, so the platform supports a large number of data coverage from point of interest, IoT devices, geographic information systems, satellite data, traffic flow, trajectories, 3D representation from beams and also from the city, and any origin destination matrix and flows or other things. So any kind that you may have in your system. You see some example in the snapshot here. The platform is also based on Node-RED, that is a Node.js tool for visual programming or your data transformation, but is also the same tool for scripting any activity. So you can easily visual programming any activity in your system. And this can be also installed on cloud or on your IoT edge. So any Linux or Windows or Raspberry that you have, even in the access cameras, you can install these tools for data gathering and integration. And you can connect this kind of tools with your cloud in a protected and secure manner with a mutual protected connection. So once you have the data inside your platform, they can be selected with a few clicks to create your nice visualization. We see in the animation some forecast for Knox in Florence. So there are tools for to create this kind of many kinds of different types of dashboards with many different widgets from the typical time trend for complex origin destination matrix or charts or hierarchy or nice 3D and so on. And you can change the skin of the dashboard with a few intervention on the files. You see in the slides the public administration for Italy skin, but also other skin as well. So since the platform is open source, we are mainly focused on data analytics and artificial intelligence. We deployed a large number of analytics. I am not going to list all of them here, but I am skipping just to show some of them in the next slides. Data analytics, we started with Florence. This is our major, Dario Nardella, in May of this year at one of the public and large forum in which presented the main dashboard that is used in Florence as an entry point. So every tile in the dashboard can go in other secondary and third level dashboard to provide you tools and interactive scenarios for visualization. Here you can see I hope that the video should start, a small video of a previous version for the 3D digital twin global in Florence. This is not something that you can simulate and show in a video. This is what you really can experience connecting with the link that is reported below and from any kind of PC that you have in your hands now. So this is an actual tool, so it's not something for simulating. And you can plug in on this kind of 3D any kind of heat maps in the lower level, and you can see also animation regarding for instance, the traffic flow, 3D animation as in this case, 3D traffic flow, and below is going to appear also the NOx prediction and animation for the NOx prediction of the next 48 hours ahead. So here the animation is coming. This is something that you can really experience in real time, and the decision maker can see the same experience. It's not something that has been arranged and recorded and accelerated and so on. This is what is going to be used actually. So we are strongly focused on SDG goals. We have developed a large number of tools for combating and to be ready for improving our city ranking against the SDG. There is a large list. This is, for instance, an example that we have developed in our 15-minute city index for Florence and Bologna, and now is at the Italian world level, deployed and distributed by NLX. It is an index in which you can click in any 500 meters by 500 meters elements in the whole Italy, and is going to provide you the information about the 15-minute city index that is compounded by 13 different sub-indexes with all the details. This to give you an example. For mobility and transport, we have a long list of possibilities. What is highlighted in green are only those that I am going just to present rapidly now. This is an example of traffic flow reconstruction that we have developed for a number of cities. This is Florence again. And traffic flow reconstruction is the tool that allows to pass from the single sensor value to the traffic flow value every 10 minutes in every 20-meter segment in your city. So starting from the single sensor to the whole traffic that you have in the city. Is something that is very expensive to be bought by PTV or others, and this is also available for Florence on Fipili, that is an highway from Florence to Livorno. It is available for Pisa, Modena, Santiago de Compostela, and so on. You see the accelerated animation in this case for the whole day. It takes 3 minutes. This is also accessible from the website. This is another important tool that we developed for making prediction on traffic flow with a convolutional deep neural network. It's a top-level journal, has been published in the top-level journal just 1 week ago. It's overcome what is the state of the art of different points with respect to what is in the state of the art. Is another example is a prediction of parking slots, free parking slots with 45 minutes in advance, 97% of precision. Is another way to inform the population and to stop spending time in reaching or arriving in a parking that is full. Another example is the deep learning for short-term prediction available bike. Pisa and Siena use this through mobile app. Again, deep learning. This is another example in Venaria Reale, close to Torino, for analyzing origin-destination, micro-origin-destination flows with only one cameras to understand all the 12 directions arriving in a single crossroad, complex as you see here. For people flow, we also deploy the tools for understanding how people are moving, just analyzing how they behave with their mobile, with a very high precision. This is being also used for measure public transportation in Tuscany, for providing suggestion and stimulus to the people to leave the private travel means and takes the public travel means. This is an analysis that we have done in Florence exploiting the Wi-Fi in the past. And there's also a way to understand how the city is used and where the anomalies can spring from some parts of the city. This is an example more recent, just from Florence municipality in front of the city hall. You can see the 2 thermal cameras. This pilot has been developed in the ERIC data project, and the purpose is to detect and count people or cars or bikes that pass through the square, and to analyze, and not only to count there, but to detect and count and identify trajectories. I think that sometimes pass also some bikes, and the bikes are recognized, and cars, you see a car there with a baby. So origin destination matrix are also a very challenging activity. We have developed this kind of tool for NLX again, that is a major energy operator in Italy that deployed for the Lombardia, Regione Lombardia, and for Milan, for analyzing in real time as a business intelligent tools that allow you to understand how the people are moving there in the Milan area. Regarding the city users, also we have tools for analyzing the social media, like Twitter Vigilance. It is operative since many years. We have a tool that collects keywords, analyze keywords, and also with the sentiment analysis to derive information that could be used for forecasting what is going on in the city or for early warning. For instance, early warning in the water bomb in Florence, or for predicting the number of people at Expo 2015, or to some audience in major TV shows. We have also used this tool for understanding reputation, how this information collected from social media can actually be used to assess the reputation, as you can estimate the reputation, for instance, from TripAdvisor. From TripAdvisor, you can have a good ranking of reputation, but the similar ranking can be obtained by the Twitter Vigilance. The two ways are strongly correlated, and we have demonstrated. We have also demonstrated how it's possible to predict, for instance, the presence in Dubrovnik, downtown city, using social media, weather condition, and historical data. We have used the same approach for predicting the number of sold tickets tomorrow by using social media, historical data, and weather conditions, and so on. Regarding the pollutant, this you see in more detail what we are capable to make as a prediction for NOx in a country, so in a city. Taking into account the traffic that is going to generate this NOx, NO1, NO2, and also the wind, the structure of the city, the direction, and so this is going to change during the day how this NOx is moving. And another activity that we performed is the prediction of landsliding. Landsliding, I have 2 minutes. Landsliding is a very relevant aspect in Italy and in Florence. You see the Florence province of Florence is red, dark red dots are slides, landslides that we had in the past. So we are capable to produce this forecast for predicting landslides with a 97% of precision. And we have also done tool for estimating CO2, for instance, or for forecasting NO2 6 months in advance. And so if you compound all these tools with the former tool for collecting data, you realize now which kind of decision support we can provide you for what-if analysis. So putting together short-term, long-term recommendation system and the whole tools and visual tools for helping and supporting decision maker. If you would like other information, you can go in this link, all the scenarios, or download the flyers and booklet that are also in the booth outside there, and so they can be downloaded as well. And if you like to see the fire impact, you can download this one. Training and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you. Gianluca, would you like to ask our first 2 speakers maybe one question before we move on?
Yeah, I saw different use cases and different real-life applications for cities. My question is, I was guessing from where to start. So a city manager wants to start his own digital twin. From where, from which data sources, and how long does it take, to start having a first level digital twin to be used for the most common purposes of a city, for example?
So from where to start for a city is depending on the goal of the city. The range is quite wide. There are cities for which the mobility and transport is more relevant, and for others the environmental aspect or water or other things. I think that probably today the most relevant aspects are mobility and waste collection. I have not shown nothing on that, but we are working also on waste optimization, and probably energy and environmental aspect. But if they have the data, they can start to exploit this data to make transform the city in a real smart city. So to exploit this possibility to reduce the cost and provide the smart services to the citizen. This is, I think, is the good step to get profit of what they have invested.
Thank you. And about the policy cloud, how can a city get on board on the platform? Can they use it with the software as a service approach?
Thank you. So policy making is not something easy by itself. So it's a complex process from the management perspective, from the policymakers. So we expect teams to work on these, both policymakers as a team, but also their technology team at the town hall, to work closely with the technology and management team of Policy Cloud. So it's not something that we expect to have a plug and play policy making or automated decision making. It's something that we have experienced also through all these years, that we are advising the municipalities how to implement tools, how to optimize their policies, and it has say a 360 approach from different perspectives, including legal and ethical aspects. So the whole team is necessary in order to develop something customized, something co-created by the municipality, but the result is great. So a short answer, any city interested can contact Policy Cloud, the coordinators out of Spain, or National Technical University of Athens. So we're very happy to connect them to the team.
Excellent, thank you. So I think we should move on because the time is running out on us. We are going back to Greece, so we are switching between Greece and Italy. So we are going back to Greece. Michael Bumpus is the Director of IT for the municipality of Piraeus and has a degree in electrical and computer engineering, as well as a PhD in information technology and telecommunications. The city of Piraeus has made several steps in the last years towards becoming an intelligent city, and Michael will present the story of the past 5 years, from funding to planning, procuring, and eventually implementing all the solutions, including keys, platforms, and data that played a role in the decision-making process. Please welcome Michael Bumpus.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you to the organizers and Major Cities Europe for the invitation. Okay. Piraeus is one of the largest municipalities in Greece. You probably know it as the main hub, of the mainland to the Greek islands. It hosts one of the busiest ports in Europe. The municipal authorities' focus the past 5 years and a bit more has been on large-scale investments, as these produce a bigger footprint in the city and also have a greater impact. However, the municipal authorities have been also convinced that a set of smaller projects under a digital strategy when referring to IT projects can have also a great impact in the city. Also, investing on data and analytics can produce better results when informed decisions based on accurate data are taken. The funding part is maybe the biggest issue for local governments in Greece. So we have tried to exploit all available sources from European funding, Greek funding, and our own funds. Also, our digital strategy has been formed around 6 or 7 years ago, but nowadays we have restructured it in order to go until 2030. Our latest digital strategy comes with a vision, and I quote, to shape the identity of Piraeus as a sustainable city based on participatory planning and the active and continuous participation of citizens and city stakeholders without exclusion. This is based on 5 pillars, well known to probably all digital strategies: green part, the smart part, the resilient part, and in our case, the blue city part, which is in order to take advantage of our, to capitalize on our advantage to have a big port and scene in our side. And of course, maybe the most important of all, Piraeus for and of its citizens. The digital strategy is based on 4 pillars of actions: the digital municipality, secure and sustainable infrastructure, promoting the transformation of businesses, and strengthening the digital skill of citizens. Regarding funding, we have been lucky in the past 5 years to run an integrated territorial investment of around 80 million euros, from which 7 million euros were directed to IT-related projects, focusing mostly on parts of culture, tourism, and infrastructures, both in platforms and in sensors. Also, through European projects like Urban Innovative Actions or Horizon 2020 projects, we have been able to get some funding for specific IT projects. Regarding urban security, the personal data marketplace that Paolo is going to discuss in a minute, circular economy, and lately for energy efficiency and climate resilience. Nowadays, we are in the application phase for around 5 million euros for smart city projects from the Recovery and Resilience Facility. What we have in terms of data, either internal or external, static or dynamic, and by default heterogeneous, we have sensor-based information from energy sensors, office air quality, street lighting, waste bin monitoring, and in a few days we will also have for illegal parking, petrol and water tank monitoring, water leaks, and green areas automating watering systems and information. Also, we have information related from coming from platforms. So we have cultural information, the PC network behavior, GIS, municipal properties, urban planning, and so on. Regarding external information that we have obtained, this comes from our citizens mostly. So we have their requests, their complaints, their transactions. Moreover, we have the urban security information coming from the police reports, and library and gallery preferences from our visitors and tourists. All this data are hosted and visualized through platforms and apps, which we will go a bit more in a bit more detail in a while. Here is a grouping of them. One of the oldest and most important for us is App, which is from our friends here from Novoville, which comes also as a mobile app and also as an administration platform to manage application and complaints from citizens. In terms of citizen and back office services of the municipality, we have the e-local government platform coming from Singular Logic, which is a citizen's application and transaction platform. COVID-19 has pushed a lot towards this direction, and you can see a rapid increase in numbers, both in application, financial transactions, and also amount of money collected. COVID-19 also pushed us to create overnight platforms for our internal use. So we used commercial solutions like Mattermost or Nextcloud hosted inside in a week's time in order to be able to communicate and manage projects at the first lockdown. For tourism, we have a recently created data management system. This is to facilitate the newly established Piraeus Destination Management Organization. This is a platform that collects data both from shop owners, local businesses, but also from tourists, visitors, and commuters. And the Destination Management Organization, based on this information, can act on events or in collaboration with the businesses in the city. A somehow unusual, let's say, platform comes from Minecraft. It's a gaming platform. For our Be Secure, Feel Secure project, it happened to coincide with COVID. We could not create some kind of event to disseminate the results. So we have used the digital representation of Piraeus within the Minecraft gaming, the Minecraft game, to provide a physical and digital game for children, promoting also the Be Secure, Feel Secure application. And here's a small video, a teaser trailer. This platform is used not only for gaming, but can be used also for participatory urban planning, giving the map to students or children and asking them how to build a neighborhood, let's say, within Minecraft. Regarding climate, we have the Climate Piraeus website and the embedded, but also as a standalone platform, the satellite monitoring services, where we gather information from the Copernicus service, and we can depict this using some analysis for various KPIs. For GIS and urban planning, we have a newly established GIS system. And finally, our biggest, let's say, endeavor the past years is the Smart City platform, where we want to gather all IoT information in the city, but also try to get information from the rest of the middleware and all other platforms that can provide useful information for decision making. And with this, I will leave you with a small video showing basically this smart city platform, our control center, and other platforms that are combined within this.
Piraeus, a historical city where tradition and culture meet modern technology and the vision of a model smart city by local and international standards. The city's core strategy for 2030 is to transform Piraeus into a modern smart city that will adopt the latest technology to improve people's daily life. Use innovation to become friendly to the environment and its citizens. Take advantage of maritime economy and its unique benefits. Grow more resilient and be prepared to meet any financial, social, or other challenges. Serve its citizens in the best possible way with continuous improvements in accessible infrastructure and services. The Smart City Platform, an innovative system designed and developed by Autopsy, is the cornerstone of this ambitious project. It enables city officials to access a unified dashboard where they can quickly see useful apps for various areas of their responsibility, such as municipal building management, land use permits, green areas, citizen applications, city lighting, and more. City employees are monitoring City Platform from Piraeus' brand new control center. From this central point, the city of Piraeus can monitor systems throughout the city, having access to a vast amount of data and information, not just the City Platform alone. For example, right from the control center, Piraeus' employees can monitor the trash bin filling system, as well as the system of managing urban threats, which is a platform developed within the Be Secure, Feel Secure European program. The control center also monitors Piraeap, a unique citizen service application, the Copernicus system for environmental monitoring through satellites, platforms for managing the city's computer network, platforms from the Cultural Administration Office that manage the city's library and the city's art gallery, Piraeus' historic archive of Dimitris Ordiris, as well as the virtual tour platform. Smart City Platform also collects, stores, and analyzes IoT data from third-party applications in real time, offering the city of Piraeus a single point for controlling and managing all IT systems. For example, all applications pertaining to stray animals, abandoned vehicles, etc. submitted through a dedicated mobile application are gathered in Smart City Platform where they can be easily and quickly managed. Accordingly, city employees can easily check all lighting fixtures in case there is an issue with a lamp or even monitor their energy consumption. City buildings are also smart, which means that one can check air quality sensors, power consumption, and a number of smart devices communicating with the system. Trusting technology and the innovative solutions provided by businesses such as Autopsy, the city of Piraeus is now fulfilling its vision for a smart city, creating a friendlier, safer, and more accessible Piraeus for all. A modern and innovative city that stands by each and every one of its citizens.
Thank you for your attention.
So, and we are moving on. We're going back to Italy. So we are switching always between Greece and Italy. I hope you stay on this journey with us. So who is in the driver's seat when it comes to personal data and making a buck or two maybe for a change instead of big companies that sell our data, sometimes even without our knowledge? Our next project is an interesting ecosystem for personal data sharing. Data Vaults aims to create a digital platform that empowers individuals to choose how and with whom we share the personal data, and maybe also how we get rewarded for it. Paolo Boscolo is a member of the Major Cities Europe Organization Committee and has been a vital part in shaping also the IT strategy of the municipality of Prato for over 30 years. He is currently the IT director at Prato City Council and responsible for the digital transformation in the local authority. He's responsible for the definition and management of the Prato Smart City Plan and its planned actions in the ICT field. Please welcome Paolo Boscolo.
I will not present what we are doing as a city in the topic that we are discussing in this section, but I would like to present one experience we are doing as a city as pilot in an interesting project where the management in a different way, the source of data interesting for such a kind of policy is managed, faced, in some way addressed. In all the presentation that we have seen, the source of data is one of the most important things in order to fill the big data platform, in order to make analysis and to make policy. If you don't have data, you cannot do anything about that. And one of the sources of data that is very interesting in such a kind of policy is any single citizen of the city. We have a lot of other sources of data, like IoT, infrastructure of the city that produce data, but we also have a lot of data interesting. We need to collect directly from citizens. It should be interesting to collect them directly from citizens. And the problem we have now is that for many of this data, we have a business model that is the most used one, that is not so comfortable for us and not comfortable for the citizen. What happens now is that the citizen is producing data, but these data are collected by international players, Google, Amazon, things like that then sells the data to the people that need them. We don't recognize anything to our citizens. Our citizens not always are aware about what they are doing. They give data to such a kind of subject, having back just the possibility to use for free some very interesting application. But sometimes we could ask ourselves, is the value of the data I'm providing corresponding to what I'm receiving back? And it is ethical that my administration has to buy this data from this player instead of collecting data directly from me. And maybe it could be possible that my administration give back to me a value for this data. So these are the topics that this project is covering. I would like to show in short term how the project is going on, and of course we have a small stand here, so I have no time to enter in detail with the technical detail of the platform we are producing. So if you are interested in going more detail in what we are doing, you can come to the small stand and we can provide you. We have also some videos that explain what we are trying to do. Which is the part? This one? Okay. So the project is an European project funded by an Horizon call. It's not the only one that is covered in such a kind of interested topic. In 2 or 3 calls on the same topic, the Commission has funded at least, we know at least 5, 10 projects that were trying to analyze a different business model for data management and data market. Of course, to have really a market, we needed that someone that is producing the good is able to enter in contact with someone that is interested in this good and exchange at good condition. And nowadays it's not a real market because as we told at the beginning of my presentation, we are obliged to provide data to someone for free, and the market is for this actor and the final user of the data. It started on 2020, just at the beginning of the pandemic period. We had the kickoff on January, and we closed the shop in terms of meeting in person. We worked completely online. So we are asking for an extension of the project because some of the activity were very difficult in working in this way. 17 partners, of course. In the partner we have technical partners that are in charge of building the platform, not developing from scratch anything, but just composing components, library, pieces of software that are already existing. And we have experts in analysis of data, because at the end of the day, this platform will offer also to the subjects that are interested to data tools to make analysis. And we have also subjects that are interested to make some pilot to see if what the technician have delivered is in some way usable by someone. Of course, Prato is belonging to these 5 demonstrators, and I will show which are the demonstrators we are trying to put in place. So, some figures to stress again what I have said at the beginning. No? We can see that the 70%, more than 70% of people is operating with a piece of software, tools downloaded by the internet, and they don't know if they have really benefit from that. They are not able to evaluate that because they just use the software. The value of each user is something like $60 per year. You can multiply by billion of users that this company have, and we can have an idea about how much which is the value of the data we are offering for free to these actors. So, it is an estimation also of this value. And we can see that only the use percentage of people is really convinced to be capable to control the data they are providing. Or they don't know if the privacy is respected. We don't know if really if the privacy is respected. Many of these players are not operating only in Europe, so we are not sure that the GDPR is completely respected. Also recently we have some strange judgment about that concerning Google in Europe. And mainly they don't receive really a fair amount back for that. So the system now is complex. It's not easy for the citizen to know where the data are going, how they are managed, and so on and so on. This is the fact. What is offering Data Vault? The Data Vault project is mainly aiming to produce 2 elements. A framework, of course we have to put in place a platform to manage the new situation we would like to create, but also a technical platform. So we have to decide how to make possible to create a real market on data for people producing data and subject wanting to use this data. The platform has a first aim to do the things in order to completely respect privacy and all regulation that protect the user. Finally, the platform is also creating a mechanism that by which the subject that use data can recognize something to the user that offered the data. Not necessarily money, but in the case that it's a local authority that is using data, something back to be, for example, some credit to use for free or with some discount a service in the city or things like that. These are the elements of the platform. So we have 2 kinds of users of the platform to which we are trying to address our attention, that are the users, and what we call data seekers, the people or the subject that are interested to look for this data, called for this data, ask the citizen if the citizens want to provide the data, and use them. Just a summary of what is inside the platform. It will be interesting to go in detail for each module, but we have no time to do that. We use, of course, the technical people use to achieve this target some very recent technology. For example, the data are encrypted using TPM and technology like that. We have a system based on the blockchain, in particular the smart contract blockchain, in order to regulate the agreement, of course online, completely online, not in presence, between data seeker and data users. And we use a role-based access system in order to be sure that only the right person that has the right to access to your data is accessing them. And there is also a technology to make possible for potential data seekers to search data with advanced search tools, even if the data are encrypted. So there are of advanced technology that have been included in the platform. Where the data stay, I will go in a little bit more in detail. So we have a lot of source of data produced by, also directly by persons, not only by other kind of sensors. These data are stored in the personal app, but also in the cloud component of the Data Vault platform. And we have the data seeker that, thanks to the technology that is behind the platform, can look for data, find data, ask the users to provide the data, and then recognize a value back in a personal wallet that is managed by the platform. A little bit more inside. So the data are collected by the individual and are stored in the component that is a store, of course, with different technologies. And what the platform is able to ensure to the users is that he can decide when to share, what to share, how to share, to whom to share, and under which condition. These are all the rights that the platform is able to guarantee with the technology we have used. And of course, for this, we have some technology used inside the platform. Last point, the platform is also offering a tool in order to continuously evaluate the level of risk the user is having in all the choices he made. So when he decided to share a data set he produced, there are some options of the data set concerning who can see this data, who can ask for them, and so on. And every option is turned on, off, allowed to calculate a level of risk. So in order to have also the GDPR completely respected. Okay. This is what the data seekers can do. Of course, they have the possibility to search inside the platform which are the data sets available for the scope he is looking for. Of course, through the query builder, he can discover all the kind of data also based, for example, on the profile of the users that are in the platform. So let's say the age, the place where he's living, and so on, because they are all data the citizen can provide to the platform and can be used for the data seeker to make the search. So once he has identified the asset, is interested to, he can ask the citizen, the user, to provide this data set. And then the platform is offering also an analytics tool in order to compare this data, analyze to this data, produce the visualization, and so on that normally we do in analytics. We are 5 demonstrators, as I said. We are the last one, Comune di Prato. Each demonstrator has concentrated the attention on a particular aspect of what they manage, the service they manage. In case of the Prato City Council, we have selected these 3 kind of pilot. The first 2 are basically data analytics. The first case, we want to use the data collected by the citizen that will choose to use the app of the project. And so when they move, they will provide data not only to Google, but they also provide data to this platform. And so the administration can use the platform instead of buy the data from Google to make an analysis about the movement of the citizen in the city, to go over the commuters or the students and so on. And then work on that in order to revise the mobility plan. The second pilot is similar to the first one, but is based on what the people coming in the city for cultural or for tourism, for cultural event or for tourism, in order to analyze what they are doing, where they are going, what they prefer, and so on. The platform also offers the possibility to collect a lot of data provided by the user, but also ask directly the user about some questions. So we can run some questionnaire, instant questionnaire, where, for example, that all the people that are moving from this place to this place, please submit this question, a couple of questions, and the user has to answer directly on the mobile app. The third one is a particular application. It's not based on big data, but what we have discovered is also that the citizen normally use, for example, the certificates to bring a piece of information from the administration that is related to him to another subject. And he's doing this, asking for a certificate. Why don't you use a platform like that in order to put together the citizen and the data seeker? It means the administration that is looking for this data, and move directly the certificate I have stored in my store in the platform directly to the data seeker without avoiding to go every time to reproduce another certificate. So it's not a big data application, but it's another kind of marketplace of data that the platform is trying to explore. This is more or less what the project is doing. I hope I have stimulate an interest for that, and if you are interested to have more detail, you can come to the small counter we have, and we provide everything.
Thank you, Paolo. Yeah, and we're moving back to Greece again, so I hope your head is not spinning. We are making a lot of miles, at least in our head. We are going back from Italy to Greece. And our last speaker is George Giannakopoulos. He is currently a research fellow at Demokritos, the National Center for Scientific Research, and is part of the Digital Innovation Hub ahead. He has worked for more than 15 years on topics such as natural language processing, machine learning, data mining, and biomedical informatics. He will explain the benefits of AI personalizing and optimizing services in smart cities. Please welcome George Giannakopoulos.
So hello everyone. I know I'm the last guy who will speak before the session that says the failure of digitalization, right? So it's a challenge. So I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to thank the organizer, and I will go for 10 minutes if possible to reduce the loss of time. So from what you have seen, and what I was also happy to share this experience of the other speakers in the previous session, we are talking a lot about dashboards, data, infrastructures, prediction capacity, all these interesting things. But again, also previous speakers said that we want to aim to the citizen, right? So just an overview of who I am, let's say. So I'm here as AHEAD. AHEAD is a digital innovation hub. Essentially, it's the frontman to a band that includes a set of service providers, technology, but not only technology service providers, that can provide solutions. And it develops an ecosystem matching business needs to commercial-ready solutions. Previously, there was a question, where do you start as a municipality? The answer is, try to get the experts and discuss it with them. We are some of these people, right? And the idea is to go towards a data economy using technologies that we've all heard about. So essentially, we do things like we allow people to try to test before investing further to possible solutions. We are a one-stop shop. This is why I said we are mostly, the gatekeeper to a variety of technologies and know-how and consulting capacity. And we co-develop, this co-creation, co-development, all these things are important. We do this all the time. And this is the only way to do this. AHEAD also is in Demokritos, the largest public research center in Greece. It's in Athens. And already the campus itself is 600 acres of more than 1,000 people that are technology aware, but others are not also. And we use our own living lab, a living space as a living lab, if you like, which is in itself very, very interesting. Now, as I said, what we have seen is an amazing number of tools that exist out there, are already available, open to the public. Actually, to be honest, an overwhelming set of tools that are there for everyone. It's as if you're asking something and someone says, bah, there is the internet, you can find this. Okay, but where do I start again? So always, the idea is to go first from observation, and especially this search space of everything is out there, to a more targeted way of interaction and to be able to predict things. So the very first thing I will refer to is getting back to the citizen, but also to officials and other stakeholders in a community through personalized messages. Again, I think from the previous session, going beyond, going to SMS messages, or emails, can be more efficient if the information is relevant. So in Democratos, we have been developing, I don't know, for I think almost 15 years, personalization technologies. What is this about? It's a system that tries to understand, perhaps even based on the content of news items, for example, if this content is related to you. But so here you can provide unique information to your citizen, but as I said, to government officials, to public servants, so on and so forth, based on their domain of interest. And these solutions can build upon everything you want to share, and I go back to the previous solution, they are data sharing. Again, these infrastructures that we referred to are critical for the realization of all these things. So you might share demographics or your role in a community or your current topics of interest, either explicitly or implicitly. So if you search for the tip, Google does that, right, all the time. It learns from our queries. What happens in our office? We anyway share the data, as we said before, but do we use it internally to optimize the communication of information? And the idea is to understand the unique needs, including things like location, so that they are also contextually aware. And the added value is that you suddenly do not send out information. You send timely and relevant information. You expect to have stronger engagement because people, tend to get the things they need, only the things they need, or mostly the things they need, and they can react to that. And the last thing is that you can do things like identify communities in your bigger community, in your major city. So I understand the topics that are being discussed or the skill sets that is out there. I will get back to that. Now, these are a few screenshots, just more or less to tease your appetite, let's say. And when, of course, we can discuss offline. So, okay, in Democratos, we have a collaboration with Vodafone about smart parking, right? But how can I use this? No, it's a dashboard, it's nice, okay? It says user experience expert, but how do I use it? So how about incentivizing people based on the load of a parking lot to try to share across different parking lots in the city? But again, this is a discussion that has to be opened at the business, operational, let's say, level, not at the technical level. So this capacity in itself might be or not be useful. But having dynamic incentives based on artificial intelligence, now revert to the technical part, you can start trying to even out the odds of people going to different parking lots to avoid traffic in specific areas, so on and so forth. Also, you might have things like fleet management. Yes, we have the data. How do we use them? So imagine the case where you have a mall and you have someone arriving or on a specific time where everyone goes to leave their products in the mall. You don't want to do this. There is not only the fleet management of minimum route length. There are other environmental and social and societal requirements. And then again, artificial intelligence can take this into account and lead to a multi-objective optimization that best serves the citizen, perhaps the shop owners, so on and so forth. Again, there is, we have an application about occupancy, or space occupancy. How can I use this? So one idea is how many people do I need to clean up this space? If I have 3 people on average in a space, and if I have 300 people in a space, I can have an improved service by allocating the appropriate amount of people to this task and sending the others to other tasks that might be have higher requirements. So again, going from the observation through an artificial intelligence-based suggestion, explainable suggestions. We heard this also before. This is a challenge for the technical people, but there exist artificial intelligent models. I think Leven had this requirement previously, and we all do, essentially, so that you can suggest changes based on data and predictive models. Again, for consumption prediction. In Democratos, we have, what can artificial intelligence do in this case for me? It can do things like actually predict, so that you can a priori change the practice, if there is and it's not only about trends, right? It's about combining also contextual information, what we call multimodal sources, like what happens in the news simultaneously, what you expect in a financial aspect, and combine all these things through a model to suggest or to be a first counsel of changes. The idea here is that we can also monitor abnormalities. I saw this also in one of the previous speakers, in the Snap for City, I think. And abnormality detection is about two things: identifying crises. So people suddenly talk more about specific square in the city than they used to, abnormality detection. But here it could be also that there is a plumbing problem in a specific building. Abnormality detection. AI can do this for us. And there is actually two more things that we need to take into account. We say, where do we start? The answer is ask your citizen. But I cannot address them all. Excellent. We have natural language processing to go large scale, see what people talk about. Here, for example, there is a demo case where there were two questions. What do you like the most, let's say, about our city? It was a human resources actually setting. What do you like the most? What do you like the least? Or what would you like to change? And it's open answers or comments, if you like, which is, we cannot deal with it, can we? We can, through AI. So there is a demo there where we deal with 15,000 responses in over 25 languages. Wait, this can go beyond one country then. So suddenly, open consultation goes to a completely new league. Again, artificial intelligence. And we have, of course, the other things you have seen also in previous talks about monitoring how events based on an announcement evolve over time. These are things that can be done, and we do them. And this nice plot here says another thing about discovering your citizen, if you like, or customer, or the service receiver. It's identifying, for example, skill sets in your community, understanding that, or let's say groups of interest. You might have in your city expertise in specific domains and you don't know about it. Why? Because you've never tried to identify how people collaborate even within your organizations. So one of the things we can do, this started as a pilot in Demokritos, how do scientists collaborate across 5 different institutes we have? More than a few hundred scientists there. How do they collaborate? What is the strength, Demokritos says? We can do this for a city. And this is very important, because then you know your strengths and your weaknesses. People are missing from a specific skill in a skill set I would need. So I may have gone too fast, but still I'm proud of it, to remember. What I would like to keep here as the message is that infrastructure and data are a necessity. We have implicit data, people sharing things on social media, and explicit data from data gathering infrastructures we ourselves put in place, Internet of Things and all these things. But the aim, I think, for a city, for a major city that needs to change the way it acts in a manner aligned to the requirements of its citizens, is essentially to have intelligent, optimized, proactive, prediction goes into play here, and personalized services. And this, if you see, was actually a horizontal requirement from immigrants to people who already live in a city. All these requirements, the personalizing aspect is very, very important, but also to information flow, because otherwise we will be overwhelmed by things that are possible, but we cannot contribute to every single one of them. Based on our role, we can fine-tune how and where to contribute in a maximally efficient manner. Thank you very much.
I think because we have pressed for time, I would suggest, Gianluca, maybe you do a little short conclusion from your part. And I would like to invite everybody, because they had the introduction to their projects. They have the booth and stands outside, and also Policy Cloud has a workshop as well as a Duet Digital Twin. So if you have a chance, please visit all of these gentlemen, with their projects, so you can get a better understanding. And we move on with our program, so we can get into the evening. So please, Gianluca, you stay. You give a little bit of a conclusion while we are moving around. And thank you, gentlemen, for being with us and sharing your insights.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Well, we saw different applications, a lot of data, a huge amount of data collected. So I'm wondering what we will do with all this data. So it will be a challenge to see in the next editions of major cities of Europe what insights will come from all these data platforms, and maybe unexpected insights or some phenomena in the cities that you didn't notice without collecting all this amount of data. I also was very interested by the fact that we are starting to propose citizens to share their data with the governments instead of only with the large multinational platforms, because of course if you have a value back from your data sharing, you can be also keen to share your data with the government, of course, because you must trust your government. So we have this very important concept of trust for public administration, which can also be the key for data sharing. So, okay, we'll see in the next editions of major cities which insights will come out from all this data. Yeah, next an invitation for the next editions. Thank you.
Very much for being part of the session. Okay, one photo, please. Go ahead. Very quick photo. You can stay. Sorry, I still need you. Well, okay, I think we can, sort of just relax a little bit now, because we have a special roundtable where we have only discussion, interactive play, so this is going to be a good one. So I invite you for the special roundtable, and the devil himself, in the shape of Glenn Evans, is asking the question if the digital transformation is a failure. He is questioning the efforts, the timeline, the system. And in the hot seat of replying to his questions is an esteemed panel, and you met already some of them, like Gianluca, and you will also meet them over the course of the conference. So please welcome to the stage Nahira Hussi, Gianluca is already sitting down, Leven Reis, and Dominic Byrne, and of course the devil himself, Glenn Evans. He's the Vice President of Major Cities of Europe and the Development Director.
Thank you, Stephanie. I may not look like it, but I started my career in what is known as digital transformation over a quarter of a century ago. And I attended a conference earlier this year, and it suddenly struck me that many of the speeches about digital transformation could have been given a decade ago or 15 years ago. Some of the words might have changed. They might have used the term e-government 15 years ago, but the objective was the same. So I thought, have we actually achieved a great deal? And then I started looking back at policy papers from the UK government. So we started back in 1996 with our first government IT strategy, which was going to make a fundamental transformation of public services. Then we had more papers. About every 3 or 4 years we get a new strategy, and each time, each one is going to transform public services. And you scratch your head. Really? If we started in 1996 saying we are going to transform public services, and in 2022 we are still saying we are going to transform public services, how much transformation has there really been? And that is when I started to thinking, do we actually keep reinventing the wheel every few years? So I thought, let's try and get some culture into this conference for once. So a UK perspective, Shakespeare's view. So digital transformation government policy, a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So I thought, better get a bit more cultural in Greece. What was Homer's view? So I found this quote. Unfortunately, I don't think I quite got the right Homer. But we have to be clear what we mean. Transformation means a complete change in the appearance or character of something. Transformation is not changing a paper form to an online form and saying that's transformation. Transformation is not doing something for the citizen which has exactly the same outcome at the end of it. It's just got a little bit of digital in it. That to the citizen doesn't feel like transformation. I don't think it is transformation. So, to me, digital transformation has failed. And now these good people to my right are going to tell me either I'm right or they're going to tell me that I'm wrong. So, let's start with Nadira. What do you think, Nadira?
So Glenn, can you hear me?
Not yet.
No? Now? Yes, great. Okay. So I'm from the UK. I'm Nadira Hussain. I work with soccer team. Martin Ferguson, my colleague, described who we are. I describe it as shifting the deck chairs on the Titanic. Have you heard that phrase before? So we've just seen the list of initiatives that you've just described, Glyn, in terms of our attempts at digital transformation. Either, if you look through the list, it's changed to the use of ICT, e-government, digital, shifting the lens on the way in which we achieve digital transformation. I think there is a misconception in terms of both what we mean by digital and what we mean by transformation. So have we failed or have we passed? Let's ask that question first. I think we've achieved some superficial changes, and you give a very good example. That's the example that I would quote, the channel shift in terms of moving forms, the ability to deliver some transactional services online. But I agree with you. I think we've achieved some transformation in part. We've certainly seen some progress, but not the wholesale change that we would want to achieve when we consider designing services from the outside in as opposed to the inside out, as we've done repeatedly over the number of years.
Leven, do you want to come in there?
Yes, and I think I agree, and I think one of the questions is a cyclist process? I think yes, it is. When you are more than 20 years working in the public administration, at a certain moment you think, okay, I've seen this before, for sure. On the other hand, maybe to use another term, maybe we are also in a way upcycling digital transformation as well. And I will give you just one example, and it's of course, I'm speaking now from my career at the public administration. I started 20 years ago with e-government, and now we have made the transformation to smart cities and so on. And I know the terminology changes, of course, and every 5-6 years you have something new, from intelligent to smart to self now even. But I think in a way, the data we are using, there is definitely some change in the last 20 years, in a way that when I started the government, we were thinking about, okay, working with government data, and if we bring all the government data together, we will get somewhere and we will be able to deliver services, and maybe better and more fluent services. And now with the whole smart city, I think we are more integrating other types of data and services, and I think, for example, one of the good evolutions, at least with the movement to smart cities, is that we are less looking to ourselves, and the things with ICT we're doing are more than the past, I think, society oriented, and I think we also have to admit that. So it's not completely failed, but yes, of course sometimes we did, and yeah, it's a cyclist process. So, and it's of course moving slowly.
Okay.
Sometimes too slowly.
Dominic, your perspective?
Okay. Is it okay? Yeah. So the first thing I suppose is the word digital always intrigues me, because somebody said, okay, we now have this new thing called digital transformation, and I'm thinking, what have I been doing for the last 30 years if I haven't been doing digital, working in the IT industry? I certainly haven't been doing analog at all. But using technology to improve the way we did things, but it was very much internally focused initially. Then with e-government became the web and enabling change in the way citizens. And now what we're calling digital is enabling a total transformation in everything we do. And I think that's a game changer because of the type of technologies that are now available to us, the likes of cloud, the likes of mobile, enabling us to do things in a way we've never done them before. And we have changed. And if you look at an IT department in a municipality, and the things we do, they look nothing like what we did 20 years ago. I certainly don't have a mainframe in my computer room anymore. I don't have key punch operators. So the way things are, I don't have people sending on patches of payroll anymore. So all of that has changed totally. And the example I always give, even in terms of citizen experiences, when we, just a simple thing of our building permits and putting them online, we used to have queues of people taking tickets at planning counters. And then when we put them online, we had to put a bell on the counter so that you could call the person out because it was no longer belonging. So things have changed. But that doesn't necessarily mean, like we talked earlier on about people, and we have in the past failed because we've had a technocratic approach and it's been about the technology first. If we don't move to what Martin talked about earlier, that people are at the core of what we do, whether that's our staff or whether it's our public or whether it's our management, well then digital transformation and our aspirations will change as well. And it doesn't need to be about people, process, technology, but implementing in that order. People first, then look at how you improve your process and then technology to support that. And for that, you need to have, in my view, buy-in for, and this is one of the challenges that I have. So I'm now tasked with developing a digital strategy for the whole local government sector in Ireland. And that's great. They're great words, but what does it mean in practice? And my challenge to management of the sector is, are you up for this change? Do you realise what digital transformation in local government will really mean? It should change everything you do, but that has an impact in terms of finance, it has an impact in terms of staff, and it has an impact in terms of disruption to the way that we do our business.
Yeah, and I should stress that I'm not suggesting that we haven't changed. What I am suggesting is that we haven't transformed. And Luca.
Actually, I think exactly what he said right now. So I too see changes in things over these 20 years of activity on this field, and I think that we do now many things simply than before, but not as many yet as we could with the technologies that we have now. So where do we stop? We stop with people and culture. That's where we stop always. And it's not at all a matter of age. I think it's just a matter of being filled by a mentality and a culture which is not. I think that the main key is that yet we are not working on the end user in the focus of our processes. End user-centered design is not at all used and applied. It is a lot applied in large mobile apps worldwide. So if you see that design concept, they are all focused on the user at the very center, but not in public administration and government. So I think that's the key. In fact, I appreciated a lot the approach of easy rights that I noted this concept of service pathways. So try to propose to the citizen easy shortcuts to do things in a simpler way.
Yeah, and I ought to also stress that this is not a public sector thing either. You know, that the private sector finds it equally difficult to transform. So I think the best example I've come across is Kodak. Kodak could not cope with the rise of digital imagery. And they still exist, but nothing like the power they once were. And the question I want to ask now is, who invented the digital camera? Kodak. So, but What happened was, there is even a report to the Kodak board saying, this is the future, we need to change. The Kodak board signed it off. But they didn't change the structure of the company, they didn't change the business lines, they put no investment into it. The money was still coming in from the photographic side of things, the traditional analog side, so why change? And then it was too late. Does that remind you of anything? I can probably point to every council in the UK who signed off a digital transformation report and not yet implemented very much of it. So, what do we do about it? That's why I got the panel of experts, really. Let's go in a different order. Let's leave Nadira till the last this time, because she's got this wide-ranging view of both UK and European activity. So let's start with you, Lieven. What should we do about this? What changes do we need to make digital transformation more successful than it is now?
To be honest, I find it a very difficult question to answer because, yeah, of course, there are the obvious answers that listening better to our users, but that's a very general answer, of course, and that's, I think, maybe the same with Kodak. The users wanted digital cameras, but I think their profitability model was sustained maybe for another 10 or 20 years. And let's say, as a government, thinking 10 years, 20 years ahead is quite difficult. And even local or regional level, I'm working for the Flemish region in Belgium. There are many departments, they all have their ideas, they all have their future vision. Bringing that all together in a kind of digitization strategy from, let's say, an overarching level is quite challenging. And let's say I will give you just one example of how strategies can also conflict with each other. Years ago, I had to do an eGov project, and everyone had the same idea. Okay, we need to bring down the costs and simplify the administration. So I was sitting together with the environmental department and the agriculture department about how work together. And it appears to be that, let's say, bringing together two different processes was completely rejected, because for the one process they get a subsidy, and for the other one they have to pay. So bringing them together was, in a way, at least be sure to giving something away and not sure you will have something back. So that's that kind of digitization processes. If you were able to transform that, then I think maybe we're not failed. So I'm not that negative, and at the end we succeeded, but it's a cultural change.
Yeah, I can throw in another example of how people and organisational structures can get in the way, and this is actually from an IT department I run. We had a very large printer that overnight printed out lots of things like council tax bills and things like that. Next door to us, we had a printing department that had a very large printer that during the day produced material that went out across the borough. They were exactly the same printer. So I suggested we consolidate into one printer, and then it could run 24 hours and save the council quite a lot of money. To which the answer was no, that's owned by the Chief Executive's Department, this is owned by the Treasurer's Department, we can't merge those two together. So it's though, even at that fairly trivial level, organisational politics comes into it. Dominic.
I think your Kodak example is an interesting one from the point of view of were management really on board when they signed off, when they said they signed off on the digital camera. Because again, as you said, there were other imperatives. So that now, you know, is a local authority going to go bankrupt or going to lose its business model? You still have some could, but you still have to continue providing your services. So where is the burning platform for us? what's going to get the attention of your mayor or your chief executive. And I think that's where it needs to be in the first place. If you're going to have a digital transformation strategy that is going to have effect, at the very start, your mayor or your chief executive or both need to be fully bought in. And they will say they are, but then you have to challenge it. Well, are you really? Do you know what this means? Do you know what the potential is? Are you up for the challenges that then come with it? Can you put your money where your mouth is? So are you prepared to put the finance in because you're going to have to pay before you see the rewards? Are you prepared to put the staffing in to implement what is required? Are you prepared to accept the disruption to the organization that is going to happen in order to achieve these? And unless you get that at the start, and it has to start there, and then it has to go down to the organization, but it also has to work the other way at the same time, back to the people first, and we have to ask the people who are going to be impacted on it. So for me, that's the approach that needs to be taken. I'm not saying it's simple by any means, but if you don't do that, then you're going to fail.
Yeah. Gianluca?
To be short, since we are in Greece and I am from Florence, I will use a motto that was used by Greeks, Latins, and also by Cosimo de' Medici, which is festina lente, which means hurry up with calm. So how I translate this, hurry up, which means do not stop innovate. So we need all to continue producing new projects and to introduce new innovations. But I think we need to address the right issues. So avoid rushing against the buzzwords, the market of the moment, no? So the buzzword markets of the moment, and leave new technologies settle down a bit before adopting them, and as I said before, address the right target, which is thinking about really simplifying the life of our citizens. So this is our main target.
Nadira.
So agreed with what my colleagues have said, but I think there are some key and fundamental points that we are repeatedly overlooking within the public sector. First of all, and we've mentioned it on a number of occasions, leadership, understanding, knowledge, awareness, acumen, skills. If we are genuinely expecting to transform public sector, our leaders need to be our digital advocates, they need to be our figureheads, they need to lead from the front. And I'm not just talking about leaders within the digital and technical space, business leaders across the board. It's not now the problem of the technology or the digital department that sits over there. It's a collective responsibility. And if you're on the front line, even more so, because you have the knowledge of the way in which your business operates, you will know firsthand the improvements that are required and how the tools and capabilities that we have available to us are going to help achieve the transformation. And when I talk about leaders, it's equally important, if not more so, to have our political leaders on side, because without them agreeing the manifesto and working with the senior stakeholders that are responsible for the delivery, we're not going to move forwards. I also think there are issues around not having the appropriate funding. We get to proof of concept stage, we get to piloting stage, and we're not able to move forward further to adapt, to adopt locally, and to stop reinvention of the same wheel. We've got to get better at scaling up, sharing best practice, whether that's business case, templates, what good looks like. Collectively, we have that responsibility of sharing and connecting. So there's a funding issue, there's a best practice issue, there's a leadership issue, there's a cultural issue, and also the lack of standards. So if we're not going to have, I'm not suggesting for a second, well, I don't know, perhaps mandated standards. How do we ensure, whether they're data standards, data architecture that we can collectively adhere to and implement, or otherwise? So at the moment, there are a number of initiatives in the UK, the Savvy project, which is looking at how we create data standards for the most vulnerable people in our communities. How do we adopt and adapt these at scale within our localities? So unless we answer some of these questions, Glenn, I think we might be chasing our tails for a little bit longer.
We can have this discussion again in another decade. Excellent. Okay, folks, I recognise we're running very late. It's a long time since the last coffee break, but I'll just summarise a couple of my thoughts. One is, I agree with everything what people have said there. I think that's really important. I do think also we need to stop being wishy-washy about what we're trying to achieve. If you look at the objectives of most transformation, so-called transformation projects, it could be summarised as we will get better. And that isn't an objective. That's not a public sector outcome. How are you going to get better? By what percentage are your citizens going to feel better about your organisation when this project is finished? How do you, unless you can measure that, you can never succeed. You're always going to fail. The second thing I think we need to get right alongside the leadership is the governance. So what tends to happen, I think, is that these projects are signed off at the top level and then they're run by people lower down. You cannot have transformation run by people who are not sitting at the top level board. They have got some, to use the UK phrase, English phrase, they've got to have skin in the game if they're going to back it when things get a bit sticky. And lastly, one trivial thing which I wish we could change. Every one of the projects we've looked at today, if you look at the branding, you think, that's an IT project. It just looks like an IT project. The names of the projects look like they're IT projects. Can we not think about how that resonates within our organisations so that they begin to sound like change programmes, change projects that are going to fundamentally impact on everybody? Stephanie, anything you want to say? Apart from time for coffee.
I was going to say, do you believe that we can change the stamp from fail to succeed at some point?
I think we can change it to fail less.
Let's go into the coffee break, because even the devil needs a break from time to time. And we had so much, to take in and for our mind, so I think we need something for the body. Please enjoy the coffee. Also, I was advised to tell you again about collect your card and get around to the stands, the booths, the projects. Get your stamp so you can be a winner at the prize draw.
And
go ahead. Okay, yeah, and the coffee is served by the stand, so you have to make your way to the stands anyway. So go ahead and enjoy the coffee break.